Good evening and welcome to the October 20th meeting of the East Point City Council. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Present.
Councilmember Friedley.
Here.
Councilmember Atkins.
Present.
Councilmember Ziegler. All right. Councilmember Cummins. Councilmember Mitchell.
Present.
Councilmember Butler. Councilmember Martin Rogers. Mayor Holiday Ingram, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Our Sergeant at Arms, Can we have, at this time, we'll have the invocation by Pastor Mobley from Victory Baptist Church. If you can please stand and remain standing for the pledge to the flag.
City Council. Let us pray. We thank you again that we have life and the breath of life, and you've given us opportunity to use our gifts, talents, and skills to bless your people. Bless our mayor, city council, and all the city employees as they do the service to help us as citizens and our customers who come to this great city. Bless it in the name of our Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Our Sergeant at Arms this evening is Captain Robinson. Thank you so much for your service. We are in the middle of a council meeting. Councilmember Butler, are you at the meeting or are you? We're in the middle of a council meeting. Can we get a motion to adopt the council agenda, please?
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the city council minutes from the October 6th regular meeting of the East Point City Council?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we are at public hearings. And our city attorney, hold on, I'll pull up the rules. I know you were already here, Attorney Wiggins. I was trying to load up my computer to pull up the rule, but if you could read the rules for the public hearings, it looks like they're all zoning matters tonight, so if you could read the public hearing rules.
Evening, Mayor and Council. So your public hearing rules are found in Section 10-2219, Public Hearing and Notice Requirements. Before adopting any change to the zoning maps or the text of the zoning ordinance, the City Council shall hold a public hearing. Following the public hearing held by the Planning and Zoning Commission, where a recommendation was made on the petition, public hearings before the City Council shall be conducted as follows. The presiding officer will call for a motion to open and close the hearing. The presiding officer or his or her designee will introduce the proposed zoning amendment before the City Council. Staff will then be called upon to present the Planning Commission's recommendation and summarize the staff's written report. Persons both favoring and opposing the proposed amendment will then be provided an opportunity to address the council. The applicant for the proposed amendment or applicant's designated representative, if any, will be entitled to speak first, followed by other speakers in favor of the proposal for a total of 15 minutes. Those who oppose the proposed zoning amendment will then be permitted to speak for a total of 15 minutes. By majority vote, the council may increase the total time for speakers, provided that each side is given the same amount of time. If there is more than one speaker for a side, the presiding officer may limit the time allotted to each individual speaker other than the zoning applicant. The zoning applicant may reserve a portion of his or her allotted time for rebuttal. Speakers must adhere to the rules of decorum. Prior to speaking, each speaker shall identify himself or herself and state his or her current address. Each speaker shall speak only to the merits of the proposed zoning decision under consideration, shall address remarks only to the council, and shall refrain from making personal attacks on any other speaker. The presiding officer may refuse a speaker the right to continue if, after first being cautioned, the speaker continues to violate the rules of decorum.
Thank you. Can we get a motion to open the public hearing for the rezoning application for case number P2025RZ00108 to rezone property from E1 Educational Institutional to M1 Medical Institutional zoning district with concurrent variance located at 0 Norman Berry Drive?
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion carries. The public hearing is now open. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'd like to have our Director of Community Planning and Community Development come forward to walk us through this item.
Thank you and good evening, Mayor and fellow council. Kimberly Smith, Planning and Community Development Director. And we have also with us Mr. Lee Kelly, our Assistant Director. In reference to this item, property located at 0 Norman Berry Drive, case known as P2025RZ-001, with associated case P2025U-001-08. The applicant is CMC Development Group. The applicant is requesting a rezoning from EI Educational Institutional to MI Medical Institutional zoning district. And the request is consolidate 3 parcels with a concurrent variance to reduce required parking. Case type is a variance, is a rezoning with concurrent variances. The property is currently zoned EI. The future land use map designation is redevelopment neighborhood, which provides for future planning of assortments of housing types such as single family, 2-family, and multifamily development. Staff and Planning Commission has recommended approval of the rezoning from EI Educational Institutional to MI Medical Institutional zoning district to consolidate 3 parcels with a concurrent variance and to reduce required parking. That concludes staff report.
In a public hearing, is there anyone who would like to speak? First of all, is the applicant here?
Yes.
Applicant can come forward at this time. What's the, I'm trying to pull it up on my computer again. What's the rule? The zoning public hearing? 10-2019. Thank you. So the public hearing, the applicant can speak first. So if you'd like to share any information with the council.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to present. My name is Sean Bell. My address is 1140 Ansel Lane, Northwest Atlanta, 30318. The name of my firm is CMC Development Group. I am principal of the firm, and we basically specialize in multifamily development, everything ranging from senior housing to market rate condominium developments and workforce development housing. This particular project, we have purchased this land some time ago, and we're really looking to tie all the zoning together as per our request, and then look to develop sort of a campus setting where we have two buildings there. One would serve seniors, assisted living, and one would be independent senior living. And then to really look to improve what's there now, which is just vacant land. And we've been working, for the past few years with the existing city planning folks, and just sort of working through all the different pieces that we need to put together here. We've also acquired some additional land from the city of East Point, right of way, the old Washington Road piece that we've added to this property to allow for some proper ingress and egress to the site, and then to also help to build out some of the campus feel that we would like to have the residents there. So I've been very appreciative of your supports thus far, and we're looking forward to kind of getting the project going and really bringing something I think that's worthwhile and very useful to the community. So, and I'm happy to address any questions.
Thank you. At this time during the public hearing, there won't be any questions, but after this, we'll go into discussion, and if there's any questions, they can answer them at that time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the rezoning application to rezone property from E1 to M1 located at 0 Norman Berry Drive? It's a public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak in favor of the application? Anyone who would like to speak in favor?
Okay. Good evening. Ernestine Pittman, East Point. I have a question. Is 1 and 2 the same? Because here he talks about 138 units on 2, and I thought we were on 1.
Questions aren't answered during the public hearing, but you can continue with your comments.
Well, I'm not about to comment on something I have no knowledge of, but I read 2 that I thought he addressed, 1 did not. So we're on 1 now, right? All right, I'll come back to 2.
It's a public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak in favor? Anyone who would like to speak in favor? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the rezoning request to rezone property from E1 Education Institutional to MI Medical Institutional at 0 Norman Berry Drive? Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is now closed. Is there any further action on this item? Councilmember Buck.
Yes, ma'am, I would like to open up the matter for discussion.
That motion?
Yes.
It's a motion to open the floor for discussion. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open. Councilmember Buck.
Thank you. May I have the planning and zoning chair, please?
That was Planning and Zoning Director or Chair?
Director.
Okay.
How you doing? Do you mind going back to your first slide? Okay. So do we have the map in red at the bottom, do we have a zoom-in picture of that one? Do we have a broader picture? So what I'm trying to see is how close is it to the hospital? I think so too. And may I have the applicant approach, please?
Do you have a question for the applicant?
Yes. Is it the green space? Okay. Yes, thank you. The only, does it, okay, I understand where we are, right here. Very good. My only question is, my friend, thank you for choosing East Point to come to. You said that you purchased the property some time ago. How long ago did you purchase it?
We closed on it, I think, in 22,
22.
but we'd actually been working on it prior to that, before we actually closed on it.
Okay. That's my only question. Thank you.
Any other questions, or discussion, or action on this item? Councilmember Mitchell?
Do we waive the first reading? If I make a motion? Okay, I'll make a motion to waive the first reading.
Second.
He seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. If there is going to be action on the item, the ordinance is entitled, "An Ordinance to Amend the Official Zoning Map of the City of East Point by Rezoning Property Located at 0 Norman Berry Drive from E1 Educational to probably should be EI Educational Institutional to MI Medical Institutional Zoning District with the concurrent variance." Is there any further action on this item? Councilmember Atkins.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I move that we amend the zoning, what did you say? To adopt the ordinance that, I don't see the caption. To adopt the ordinance that amends the official zoning map of the City of East Point by rezoning property located at 0 Norman Berry Drive from EI Educational Institutional to MI Medical Institutional Zoning District with concurrent variance.
So moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. Were there any conditions? Okay. Were there any neighbors, surrounding neighbors that spoke for or against? Or did any neighbors, did anyone come forward?
They did not.
Okay. And just so we know, it's going to be the rent for the apartments are going to be at what cost? And how many will be set aside for senior citizens?
Well, one building will be, we're targeting to be assisted living, and one will be independent living.
Okay.
So on the independent side, those are probably around $1,300 per unit. We're not totally 100% set, as things are evolving as we're working through all the design elements.
So
I think your questions, Councilmember Shropshire, might be for the second one. So they first had to do the rezoning to then be able to move to the second one that actually deals with the units.
Okay, okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up, can I get a motion to open the public hearing for use permit for case number P2025U-001-08 to allow development of 138 units for assisted living and senior living in the MI Medical Institutional Zoning District.
Second. So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is now open. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. Good evening again. In reference to this case, property located at 0 Norman Berry Drive, known as case number P2025U-001-08, the applicant is CMC Development. The current zoning of this property is now Medical Institutional Zoning District. The applicant is requesting a use permit to develop 138 units of assisted living and senior living in the MI Medical Institutional Zoning District. Staff and Planning Commission recommended approval of the use permit in the proposed MI zoning district for the purpose to develop 138 units for senior assisted living. That's the end of our report.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. The applicant can come forward at this time if you'd like to speak for this item. The public hearing is just open with the applicant, so if you like to, you can. If not, it's up to you. You might want to sit in the front row. Okay. Just press the button on the mic. There you go.
Thank you. Again, I really appreciate the support of, the city council, planning staff, and residents that have come out and supported us on this project. I think it's worthwhile. I think it will bring a lot of value to the neighborhood, and hopefully, we can be really a part of what's happening in terms of the development activities and the positive growth that the city is encountering. So I'm just excited to get going. It's been a very long journey in terms of putting a pretty complicated process together, and we're just hoping to get it done as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. So the public hearing, is there anyone who would like to come forward and speak in favor of a use permit to allow development of 138 units of assisted living and senior living in the MI Medical Institutional Zoning District? I'm assuming this is at 0 Norman Berry Drive. The item doesn't say that. Anyone who would like to speak in favor? There anyone who would like to speak in favor of the use permit for 138 units of assisted living and senior living in the MI Medical Institutional Zoning District at 0 Norman Berry Drive? It's a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition of the use permit to allow development of 138 units for assisted living and senior living in the MI Medical Institutional Zoning District at 0 Norman Berry Drive? It's a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? You can get a motion to close the public hearing. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Is there any further action on this item? Member Butler.
Madam Mayor, I would like to open the floor for discussion and possible action on the following.
Is that a motion?
Yes, it is.
There's been moved and properly seconded that we open the floor for discussion and possible action. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open. Councilmember Butler.
Thank you. If I may have the applicant approach once again, please. I'm sorry you have to keep getting up and down. Thank you, Mr. Bell. I'm sorry to have you keep coming up and down.
It's okay.
What do you think what is the evaluation of the property? How much do you think is going to be our construction cost?
We're about $40 million.
Do you know what your cap rate will be at your current rents? Did you have an estimation of what that would be?
I think we've been modeling at, like 6.5, something like that.
Do you mind disclosing who you purchased the property from?
It was owned by a church, and the name escapes me, but it was Bishop Guthrie's church.
Okay.
So we purchased it from him, and but we're still kind of working with them as well. And so we do a lot of work with churches across the country. So we're just sort of continuing in that vein. But we are the principals in charge of the site.
And well, thank you for the $40 million investment in East Point. I hope everything goes well for you. We really want you to be successful.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any further action on this item? Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. So now my question, you said the rate will be 14 for the rent?
We're modeling right now about $1,400 for the independent senior units.
And what would be the rate for the other side?
Yeah, the assisted, we're still working through that because that's a more complicated process because it involves services that are well beyond just your typical rental. So we're sort of working through those pieces.
So you will be working with East Point Housing Authority?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, we've spoken to them about potentially accessing their wait list for folks who are looking for units. So we've spoken to Michael Span a few times.
Okay, so, because if they're on the wait list, then that means that they, well, I wouldn't necessarily say that means that they couldn't pay the $1,400, but that means that you will be getting some type of assistance for their rent. They wouldn't be paying the whole $1,400.
Right. If they have portable vouchers, then they would be paying a small portion of the rent, and everything else would be paid by the vouchers.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many total for both sides, how many total unit, and what is the space of the units?
The unit sizes for the assisted living ones are, they're about 300 plus square feet. I'm sorry, for the independent units, and the assisted livings are larger because they will have like two residents share. And then we have some units that are 2-bedroom units, and those are about 800 plus square feet, like 854, something around there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Well,
Councilmember Atkins.
Yes, Mr. Bell, I just wanted to thank you again, as Councilmember Butler has stated, for your investment in our city. A few months ago, we just adopted our Economic Development Strategic Plan, and one of the things that it noted is that we were lagging behind in housing development and variety of housing. And so this is definitely something that will dovetail up into that finding based on that plan. And so just wanted to thank you for that investment and for bringing additional housing to the city of East Point.
you're welcome. And if I may make a comment, one of the things that attracted me to East Point is sort of I think it's like a hidden gem, right? Just from a location infrastructure standpoint, I think it has all the makings of, some really great opportunities to build housing and, really economic development for families. So, this is what that I do here, so.
Thank you.
Councilmember Mitchell.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to waive the first reading.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Councilmember Butler?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Is there any further action on this item? And if so, Councilmember Atkins, you're sitting next to me, you can probably read
Yes.
the ordinance.
Madam Mayor, I move that we grant use permit for the purpose of developing 138 units of senior assisted living located at 0 Norman Berry Drive in the MI Medical Institution Zoning District.
So moved. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, and thank you for choosing East Point. We appreciate you. Next up is, can we get a motion to open the public hearing on P2025RZ-001-02, rezoning request for property located at 1784 West Taylor Avenue from R1A Urban Residential Zoning District to R3 Multifamily Residential Zoning District with a concurrent variance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open. Ms. Smith.
Good evening, thank you. In reference to this item, property located at 1784 West Taylor Avenue, known as case number P2025RZ-002-08. The applicant is D. Muffy Charlton. The current zoning of the property is R1A, and the applicant is requesting a rezoning from R1A to R3 to develop 6 dwelling units with concurrent variances from Section 10-2065EC to reduce the side yard setback from 4 feet, and from Section 10-2065EA to increase the maximum height to 45 feet. The current zoning, as stated, is R1A. The future land use map designation is redevelopment neighborhood. The future patterns for redevelopment neighborhood would include assortment of housing types to include single-family, two-family, and multifamily. The use and scale is limited to multifamily at crossroads and where existing. This particular parcel is located on the corner of West Taylor Street and Sim Street, and it is on a corner. The density of the property lot size is 0.38 plus or minus acres. The future land use map designates the density for this area between 4 to 8 units per acre. Based on the size of the lot and based on the future land use map designation, it would allow for 1.52 to 3.04 units on the site. And based on the MARTA Transportation-Oriented Development LCI project that was adopted by the city in 2012, it would allow up to 9.5 to 28.5 units on this size acre, which is a little over a quarter of an acre. Staff and Planning Commission did recommend approval of the rezoning from R1A to R3 with the following conditions. I'll read the conditions into the record. Condition number 1, building design. Facade shall incorporate step down and modulation or articulation to reduce the perceived mass of 3-story buildings adjacent to lower residences. Condition number 2, traffic and access. Driveway design and internal circulation shall be coordinated with the city engineer to minimize traffic impacts on local streets. Condition number 3, in reference to compliance with the plans, the development shall substantially conform to the site plan submitted with the application, subject to staff approval and final adjustments. Condition number 4, landscaping and screening. The minimum landscape buffer with evergreen plantings shall be installed along property lines adjoining single-family homes pursuant to Chapter 6 landscape drawings. And I just want to make one notation in reference to Planning Commission, and it is listed inside of the ordinance. As far as condition number 1, we want to add that the applicant shall go through infill ordinance process pursuant to regulations as outlined in Article J, infill. And that's added to condition number 1 based on Planning Commission's recommendations for conditions. That concludes, in reference to the variance from section 10-2065 EC to reduce the side yard setback to 4 feet, staff and Planning Commission did recommend approval. In reference to the variance from section 10-2065 EA to increase the maximum building height to 45 feet, staff and Planning Commission did recommend denial. That concludes our report.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak in favor of the rezoning request for property located at 1784 West Taylor Avenue from R1A Urban Residential Zoning District to R3 Multifamily Residential Zoning District, please come forward at this time. Is the applicant here?
Good evening, everyone. My name is D. Muffy Charlton, and my current address is 1370 Georgia Ave, East Point. We acquired this property in December of last year after careful study and consideration of East Point's comprehensive economic development plan, urban agriculture plan, and housing plan for those particular areas. Subsequent to purchasing the property, we have attended more than half of the Center Park community meetings, which is where this property is located. The reason why we're asking for this redevelopment is just given the current economic conditions, we think that it'll be a little bit more prudent to offer homes for first-time families at a lower price point by doing a multifamily development, understanding that this will help them offset some of the costs with development as well. And I definitely want to go on record that as of Unit 6 that I will be residing on that. So this is not something that I'm just developing outside, but this is going to be my personal residence as well.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the request to rezone property located at 1784 West Taylor Avenue from R1A Urban Residential to R3 Multifamily Residential? What's your name again, sir?
Muffy Charlton. Muffy Charlton.
Muffy, Mr. Muffy. You can sit right there on the front row, so you don't have to go too far. Anyone who would like to speak in favor of the request to rezone property located at 1784 West Taylor Avenue from R1A Urban Residential to R3 Multifamily? Anyone who would like to speak in favor? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the request to rezone property located at 1784 West Taylor Avenue from R1A Urban Residential Zoning District to R3 Multifamily Zoning District?
Good evening again, Ernestine Pittman, East Point. I hope we're not opening up our city to infill townhouses or multi-family dwellings with no space for any recreational or playgrounds or what have you. Now, we don't need any matchboxes. We're already having a problem with multifamily units not being taken care of, overpriced, and over there on West Hill, those are residential homes. And if you're going to put something over there, let it be something worthwhile and not something that's just thrown up and say, okay, here are your townhouses. Well, what do these townhouses have in them? How many units are we going to have there? Are we going to have children there? They're going to be for adults only? We need children in East Point. So we need multifamily housing in East Point. That's why we're closing schools. So before we start coming up with buildings that's going to exclude families next to residential areas where there are homes where children might be, we need to think about this too. No, a house is not necessarily a home. And we ought to be building homes in East Point. My street is beginning to look like anybody come this week, somebody else come next month. Homes. We have enough rentals. We need home ownership. And we need homes where people can grow up in them, raise a family in them, and not just have something that matchbox where you can barely turn around in them. We don't need any more storage units to store your winter clothes in when summertime comes, or your summer clothes in when winter times come. We don't need you out there trying to go through there because you don't have the space inside there. These matchbox kitchen, dining areas, bedroom areas, people deserve better. And we can do better here in East Point. Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak in opposition of the request to rezone property located at 1784 West Taylor Avenue from R1A Urban Residential Zoning District to R3 Multifamily Residential Zoning District? Anyone else who would like to speak in opposition? Anyone in opposition? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close this public.
Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Councilmember,
Not on this issue.
on, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Is there any further action on this item? Councilmember Butler.
Yes, ma'am. May I please open the floor for discussion and possible action on the rezoning of this issue, West Taylor Avenue?
That's your motion?
Yes.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Discussion.
On the motion to open the floor for discussion?
Yes. Yes. Say it again, I'm sorry. No. But I do have a question.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You coming? I'm coming. I got Councilmember Butler, then you.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Butler and Councilmember Cumming.
I yield to Councilmember Cumming.
Councilmember Butler.
Yes, ma'am, I yield to Councilmember Cummings.
Councilmember Butler, I've just called you to speak.
Yes, ma'am. I yield to Councilwoman Cummings.
On this item.
I'm yielding my time to someone else.
Councilmember Cummings.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just two questions. I know that the request was to have the setback to 4 feet. What is the normal setback on that? I think that'll be a question for Ms. Smith, or?
It's 6.
So it's normally 6 and they want to go to 4. And then the next one was, I know they also requested that the building height be raised to 45. What is it normally?
40.
40, okay, all right. Thank you, I yield. Thank you.
Councilmember Atkins.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a clarifying question. Maybe you could stay at the microphone. According to the slides and the presentation from staff, the concurrent variance, there was a recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Commission and staff to deny. Is that correct?
Yes, it was approval of the setback,
Rezoning.
denial of the height, the maximum height variance.
And so my clarification, so then in the ordinance, the verbiage in the ordinance, the concurrent variance is relating to the setback and not the height. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, because otherwise it just says concurrent variance, and so I just think that there needs to be some clarity around that, because otherwise if we approve the ordinance, then it could include the height, because that was a part of the application.
In section 1 of the ordinance, it indicates the concurrent variance for section 10-2065 EC to reduce the side yard setback to 4 feet, and from 10-2065 EA to increase the maximum building height. The variance to increase the height to 45 feet has been denied.
Okay.
The rezoning application has been approved with the following conditions.
Okay. All right, thank you. Madam Mayor, with that, I have a motion.
To waive the first reading?
Yes, to waive the first reading.
To speak.
Oh.
I'm going to come to you on discussion. Councilmember, there's a motion to waive the first reading. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Discussion. Shropshire.
Thank you. What is the square footage of the units? And again, can you state how many units it will be and what will be included?
Each unit will be approximately 2,500 square feet, which is made up of 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, with a separate flex space that can be used as an office or playroom for children as well. There'll all be a laundry. There'll be a 1-car garage as well as living room, dining room, kitchen.
So each unit will have 3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, a flex room.
So will the bathrooms be in each room?
2 rooms will have ensuite bathrooms, one bathroom, 1 room will not have an ensuite bathroom. So you have 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. The half bathroom is near the kitchen. There's no room there. Then there's...
So they will have half bathrooms in 2 of the rooms?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, each bedroom will have a full bathroom.
So each bedroom will have a full bathroom?
There's 3 bedrooms, 2 will have ensuites. So they'll have a full bathroom in the room. Then there'll be 1 bathroom that will not have a bathroom in the room, so you'll have to walk to that one. And then there's a separate half bath.
So it sounds like it's more like, is it gonna be people actually purchasing it, or is it gonna be where people rent the rooms? Because that's
No,
what it
ma'am.
sounds like.
These
Each
are-
room will have a bathroom.
Sorry, these are homes for sale. So ensuite just means instead of coming out of your room to go to the bathroom, you have a bathroom in your room for convenience, which is something which is normal and occurrent with homes that are being built recently.
I yield.
Councilmember Martin Rogers.
Thank you. I would like to know the price point of the homes in the development.
Right now, considering Santa Park community, there have only been, by the last time we checked, 2 homes that were built in Santa Park between 2023 and 2024. Those ranged on average from $425 to $440. So we try to stay within that range as much as possible. You're welcome.
Councilmember Butler.
Yes, how will by the denial of the height from 45 feet, how will that affect your construction?
It won't affect us much. It was nice to have if we could figure it out, but we can actually get it done without that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. I would like to add to the condition to restrict each room from being rented out.
This is, who, Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith? I'm about to ask a question about the short-term rental ordinance. Which zoning districts allow whole house lodging or homestay lodging? I don't recall. I have to try to pull it up.
In reference to the short-term rental ordinance, the only zoning district that restricts whole house is R1. That's our single family. All other zoning districts would allow homestay, which means that you have to live in the house.
Homestay is allowed in R1.
Yes.
Is RL limited?
R1 and RL are the only zoning districts that would not allow for you to rent out your entire home without you not living there.
And so R3 and R2, I'm trying to pull it up, allows for?
It allows
Wiggins?
for whole house and homestay.
Attorney Wiggins? Yep, I was trying to go to my fire. I should have just went to the ordinance. Thank you. So, Shropshire, you indicated you'd like to restrict the, what was the condition again?
Restrict the rooms being rented out.
So there's a motion to add a condition to prevent rental of rooms in these units. Is there a second on that motion? Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Councilman Shropshire?
No.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shropshire? Yes. Councilmember Freely? No. Councilmember Atkins?
No.
Councilmember Cummings? No. Councilmember Mitchell? No. Councilmember Butler? No. Councilmember Martin Rogers? Yes. The motion failed.
All right, so I just treated that as a substitute motion. I'm sorry for the record. There was a motion to waive the first reading on the floor. I should have said I was treating it as a substitute motion.
Have a main motion on the floor, a motion to approve with conditions yet. This was discussion on the motion to waive first reading. So you just need to get a motion on the main, which.
Right, there was a motion to waive the first reading, there was a second, and then we were on discussion. And then there was a motion made that's been entertained, so we're back on the main motion of waiving the first reading.
Correct.
And is there any further on the motion to waive the first reading? All right, and all those in favor? All those opposed? Yeah, this motion to waive the first reading, I'm sorry. Correct. No. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shropshire? No. Councilmember Freely? Councilmember Atkins?
Aye.
Councilmember Cummings? Councilmember Mitchell? Councilmember Butler? Yes. Councilmember Martin Rogers? Yes. The motion passed. Excuse me. Sorry.
All right, is there any further action on this item? Councilmember Atkins.
Madam Mayor, I move that we amend the official zoning map of the city of, I move that we adopt the ordinance that amends the official zoning map of the city of East Point by rezoning property located at 1784 West Taylor Avenue from R1A Urban Residential to R3 Multifamily Development Zoning District with concurrent variance.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
The conditions, I think, are in.
Councilmember Butler.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to say to my colleague, I understand what your reticence is, but based on the current zoning for short-term rental, they are not allowed to rent out rooms anyway. Plus, East Point does not allow for rooming houses, so they're not allowed to do what you're trying to prevent.
So I think the information shared by staff is that homestay and whole house lodging, which are our short-term rental ordinances, are allowed in R2 and R3, which this has been, the request is to rezone this to. Is that correct, Ms. Smith?
That's correct. They would have to apply for a short-term rental application through our department.
But it's permitted within the zoning district.
Yes, it is.
Councilmember Butler, anything else?
Yes, they can rent out the house for short-term rental, but they can't rent out the room separately, correct?
They would have to abide by the short-term rental ordinance. I hope that answers your question.
If they, it's my understanding that we don't allow for renting rooms. That would be considered a rooming house. But
The renting of the rooms would be determined by the time that they stay. In our short-term rental ordinance, short-term rentals are based on any amount of time under 29 days. Anything over 29 days is considered a lease.
we allowed, if you stay in the home, you have to stay in order to lease a room. It's my understanding that the ordinance does not allow for us to lease out separate rooms without someone being in the home that lives and occupies in their home.
If it's less than 29 days and they are within the guidelines of the short-term rental ordinance, anything over the 29 days would be long-term and it would fall under rental leasing.
Okay, I'm just going to stop right now.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. That is why I asked the question about the square footage and to know that each room will have a restroom. The city already has houses or places that are currently renting rooms that's not registered with the city. And I know 2 of them that I've said on numerous occasions what they were doing. Not saying that this wouldn't happen in this situation, but it would have put some type of protective around that. But you all are so gung-ho on going against what is right and giving up your right for wrong.
Councilmember Atkins.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that, and I'm just looking for the rest of the ordinance, that my motion includes the conditions as stated by staff. And I don't see that. I was looking for that in the ordinance. And so if it is not included in that, then I want to make sure that for the record that that is the understanding. So I guess we'll have to ask if the second still stands.
The ordinance has conditions 1 through 4 in it, and it denies the variance. Are we still on that one?
What
Yes.
page? Yeah.
It's on page 2 of 7.
Oh, that's different. That's a different ordinance. Okay. Okay, yes, thank you. I see that, page 2. All right.
In the short-term rental ordinance defines a dwelling unit as one or more rooms together. Any question on the, is this the motion to adopt the ordinance? Okay. I lost myself for a minute. I put a check mark already. All those in favor? All those opposed? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shropshire. Councilmember Freely. Councilmember Atkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Cummings. Councilmember Mitchell. Councilmember Butler. Councilmember Martin Rogers.
No.
The motion passed.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and congratulations. Next up, public comments. Do we have any public comments this evening?
We have 4 public comments this evening.
How many?
4.
Rule 28, the public may speak during the public comment section of the agenda. The city clerk shall make the public comment form available on the city hall lobby prior to the start of the meeting. All speakers must complete a comment form and provide a completed comment form to the city clerk between 6 p.m. and 6:25 p.m. prior to the start of the meeting. Subject may include any subject of choice. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. Should the speaker desire to give his or her time to another speaker, he or she may do so by notating what speaker shall receive the time on his or her comment form, provided that the speaker given his or her form that he or she gives all or part of his or her time up to 3 minutes to another speaker for a total of 6 minutes of speaking time. Speakers may address the council only once during this time of the agenda. Speakers must identify themselves and their address prior to speaking. Questions from the speakers may not be addressed during the public speaking section of the agenda. East Point residents will have priority over other speakers. There will be a total of not more than 60 minutes for the public speaking section of the agenda. Speakers may only address the presiding officer. Speakers shall observe all rules of decorum. No debate, disrespect, or obscenity shall be tolerated. The presiding officer shall rule any such individual out of order that fails to comply with the foregoing. Madam City Clerk, you may call the first speaker.
Up first, we have Ms. Barbara Boyce.
There you go.
Yes, my name is Barbara Boyce, and I live at 1356 St. Michael Avenue, Colonial Hills subdivision. And I've been coming here for quite a few years trying to get my street paved and new sidewalks. We have rocks on our sidewalk that was done in 1940, and now it's 2025. And this is not a long street. We have about 7 houses on the street. So they did do the main street. They paved it, but didn't do anything to my street. So I am asking and praying that you all take this into consideration and pave my street, that it'll look like it's in part of a subdivision, because right now it doesn't. So that is my commitment, and I hope that you all listen and have my street paved, the sidewalks and everything. Thank you.
Up next, we have Ms. Ernestine Pittman.
Good evening again. This is Queen Ernestine D. Pittman. I'm speaking now as a resident, former council member, and former mayor. The city attorney for the city of East Point is not the council's attorney, but the attorney for the entire city. When you have council meetings sitting here, we need to have a city attorney present so that any information that comes up before the council, he or she can check it out as to whether or not there's a policy violation or what have you. I am more than dismayed to say, well, I am furious. I had breast removal, not brain removal. So when I say that we do not have a legal advisor in the city of East Point from the hours of 8 to 5 daily on a weekly basis, that is absurd. The job description for a city attorney states the city attorney is to provide legal advice not only for council members, but for the city manager, department heads, and anyone else who is appointed to conduct business on behalf of the city. We have a new city manager here from out of the state. He doesn't know what Georgia laws and all that is. Most of you don't, and I don't either. That's why we hire a city attorney. That's why we have a space in the city, in the building for a city attorney. Same thing for an assistant city attorney. There is no way in the world, either one of you sitting up here, $10,500 in your educational budget does not know that this city cannot be expected to run without any legal presence from 8 to 5 in the city. I can't believe that you don't understand our form of government. There was some kind of food, lunch, and a dinner here in this chamber council given by DEI for board members and authorities. Big no-no. Any group of committee, task force, or authority appointed by council answers only to council by way of recommendations. Administrative assistants under the city managers, he can be a 6 minutes.
Up next, we have Mr. Willie Jackson.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That's not our form of government. We cannot have people just doing things. No one under the city manager is allowed to be in the presence of council members making recommendations without the express permission of the city manager. Council does not have that luxury to tell any authority, board, or commission that you appoint that you have to go and do anything that the city manager's office or anyone under him requests. They make recommendations to you. That's a conflict of interest. And another thing, I've been reading the ethics policy. You know I got so many of those. I refuse to relinquish my throne as having the most ethics policy violation filed against her in the history of the city of all combined. Pittman never lost one. Oh, they found me guilty of every last one of them. We just had a council that knew better than to try to follow that mess. Here we have in our ethics policy that we went back and amended in 2013. In it, it says your city attorney employed by the city cannot have any outside employment. I asked for the contract for the city attorney, none exists. I asked for salary, $24,000 a month, almost $250,000 a year, with no presence in the city from 8 to 5. Who's advising the city manager? Who's advising the department heads? Who looking at all these contracts that says they are informed and looking to see whether or not there are mistakes or errors in there that is holding this city liable? We live in this city. We are the ones who are going to be paying for that. We need a city attorney, and we darn sure do not need one for $8,000 a meeting. You all are out of your minds. I mean, it's ridiculous. And oh, by the way, Saturday, no Kings, East Point, no Kings parade, protest. Well, we didn't have a parade. There were 26 of us out there. One couple and a gentleman came from Atlanta to East Point. Yeah, I live in Atlanta suburb, but East Point is its own city. We deserve some kind of presence when it comes into our community about what is going on in this country. But if anybody set it up, want to pay a city attorney $8,000 for a meeting, I don't know, you must think you run Trump's minions. Thank you.
Lastly, we have Mr. Napoleon Black.
Good evening, Napoleon Black, East Point resident. This issue is more about safety and our image. For the residents and city council members, when you leave here today, drive down some of the main streets in our city, and you'll notice it's extremely dark. We don't have a lot of adequate lighting on most of the overhead street lamps. And if you need a comparison, you should go to Atlanta or Hateville or College Park and notice the difference. That's a safety issue. It's an issue for pedestrians. We have a lot of pedestrians that use public transportation and they walk along the roads. So if you all get a chance when you leave the office, when you leave here today, just drive around the city and then go over into College Park or Atlanta and just notice that for yourself and see what can we do to improve our visual image or the lighting in the city. That's part of the image. I mean, that's how we bring, when people come to Camp Creek, it's dark over there. You want people to come spend their money, you want people to come and possibly develop homes, you gotta have a positive image. And that's something we should look at. We got new streets paved over, and let's put the lights that go with it. Thank you.
Mayor, oh, one more. It's Ms. Teresa Nelson. She was up under my agenda. That's the last one.
Button. Ms. Nelson, press the buttons. There you go.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Teresa Nelson, 1732 Neely Avenue, East Point. I have found the Visa invoices for council members fascinating and look forward to reviewing the statements of each member. I started with the member who apparently had the most egregious expenditures. The at-large councilwoman from Ward A charged $86,486.37 over 32 months from 2023 to September 25. Half of that total, nearly $44,000, was for her travel. But most surprising were her non-travel expenditures. The councilwoman spent over $22,000 with Amazon, around $9,500 at grocery stores, and over $3,900 at miscellaneous businesses such as Lowe's and Target. She spent nearly $4,000 with Facebook and over $3,000 with LinkedIn for what is apparently its business promotion account. Based on her monthly Visa charges averaging over $2,700 for 32 months, the councilwoman who was sworn in January of 2014 could potentially have spent over $300,000 in travel and miscellaneous expenses. We heard in previous meetings that few receipts for her charges were provided. Thus, it would have been impossible to apply individual expenditures appropriately to council's three budgeted funds accounts. $12,000 for travel and training, $1,800 for supplies, and $11,250 for constituent services, totaling $25,050. Add the $25,50 for annual budgeted expenses for each council member, and their $5,000 monthly credit card limit, or $60,000 annually, and it certainly bears reviewing all expenditures of the mayor and each council member. I want to thank our city manager for tackling this difficult and thankless job. We need more like him. The taxpayers need these serious financial discrepancies addressed. The feds are drastically cutting funding for city projects. Where do you expect to make up that difference? Certainly not from the utilities fund, especially when the same council person doesn't even pay the utility bills at her own residence. Thank you.
Those are all the public comments we have this evening.
All right, let's move to comments from council. You can set the clock for 2 minutes. Any comments from Councilmember Shropshire?
Thank you. First of all, Ms. Nelson, let's get something straight. You provide a bill that has my name on it because that's defamation of character when you stood up here and lied. Secondly, let's address these credit card statements. I do provide receipts. You do an open record, you get the receipts. I can tell you each time I use my credit card, July, Martin Luther King Day of Service, May through August, Wednesday wind down, October, Halloween festival. So you come up here spreading malicious lies without facts because you're trying to prove a point because you know it's an election season. But we can talk about your record, but I'll do that later. So let me move to my next item. My next item is this. Mr. Willie Jackson has an issue on his property. And our water and sewer department spoke in reference to our stormwater policy. And so what I want to do is make a motion for mayor and council to waive the required recommendation for the administrative annual board concerning the determination of the stormwater engineering resolution report for Mr. Willie Jackson's property located at 2424 Greenwood Circle, East Point, Georgia.
Second.
In favor of Mr. Jackson in the amount of $3,000.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. City Clerk, you're probably going to have to get that from Councilman Shropshire. I think she read it. Any motion?
Discussion.
Councilmember Butler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's my understanding, I'm going to ask the city manager some questions regarding this, but we thought we had worked out a solution for that issue where Mr. Jackson would not incur that $3,000 fee, and that it was also our understanding, at least it was my understanding, that this had the correction to the sinkhole had taken place or was in the process of taking place. Could you help us address that?
Mr. Jones, I don't know if you had the authority to waive it, but that's the purpose of the motion. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
I think the solution that was determined was combining two city programs, not only just the stormwater program, but also the program out of the Department of Empowerment and Inclusion to, I think it's the assistance for utility assistance. That's right, the utility assistance program. So those two programs together created the situation to take care of that situation. I just didn't follow up. I assumed that it had been taken care of, but I didn't double back. So I'll double back and see where we are on that status of that. But certainly feel free to have any further city council direction, but that was the solution that we had already.
Councilmember Butler, you have anything else?
Yes. So it's my understanding from what you just said, the total amount of money to cover the repair is $9,000. $6,000 was covered by water and sewer, and then an additional $3,000 was covered by the equity empowerment inclusion. Is that correct? That was my understanding. I wasn't real sure on the actual numbers, but the two programs together was able to take care of the situation, at least my last report. That's what my understanding was. So who was supposed to do the repairs? Because the repairs haven't been done. Do we know which department or how that was going to work?
Typically, that's in water, but I will have to double check. Usually the contractors are through there, but the funding can come from different locations, which is what the case was.
So just for clarification's sake, all the money, he would not have to come out of any money to do these repairs?
That's the understanding, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Mitchell.
Yeah, so it was my understanding that I'm not sure if we can actually use those funds for that. And I think we should pay this because of our lack of the Stormwater Administrative Appeal Board. So if he did want to appeal the assessment, since we don't have that, and I think he's been waiting for a while now, that we should just go ahead and pay out the $3,000 before any type of litigation comes from this. Thank you.
Councilmember Cummings.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, sir, have you received any correspondence from the city just saying that we were...
Councilmember Cummings.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I'll direct the question to the city manager. Have we sent any type of correspondence to him to let him know just where we were with the status regarding this? I'm sorry, Madam Mayor.
I will have to follow
Okay.
up on that, and I just wanted to also clear, stormwater is considered to be a utility.
Okay. And for what the ask is today, Madam Mayor, are we have the authority to say that he can, that he's not required to take care of it at the city, that it's going to be taken care of on the city's dime?
I'll defer that to the city attorney. I believe there's a motion that's been made. I'm not aware of a utilities assistance program that the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Empowerment has that just pays utilities. The funding that we received comes through, I think, LIHEAP and what's the name of the organization that Eddie Lee Brewster's a part of? The Community Action. There's an organization that they get the funding from the county or whomever, and then we approved the agreement to participate in LIHEAP so that we could provide utilities assistance. I know during CARES Act, that was quite some time ago, there was $250,000 for utilities. I'm not aware of funds in the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Empowerment for utilities assistance at this juncture, and I'm not sure. Generally, those funds have not necessarily gone to stormwater. It's usually water or electric. And so if council is going to make a decision to waive it, that would have to be a council decision, whether or not legally that's proper. If the city attorney has any comments around that from a legal perspective, but I'm not aware of any funds in the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Empowerment for stormwater utility repairs, because this isn't even about usage. This is a stormwater utility like repair. But City Attorney Wiggins, to the question of whether or not council can do this by motion, make a decision, I think there was a claim filed as a part of this. And so as it relates to resolving a claim, Attorney Wiggins.
Certainly. The Division 4 of your Stormwater Management and Community Assistant Program Ordinance provides that the Stormwater Management Program shall be funded through the Stormwater Management Utility, and that's in a different subsection. But it provides that the City Council and Mayor may authorize additional stormwater management programs, and they should receive funding. And it is to assist private property owners with addressing their stormwater management system condition on private property. A release would have to be signed by the property owner should they get assistance through their stormwater community assistance program. And section 8-2430 lists like the process of a citizen alleging that their property has been damaged by the collection, concentration, flow, or surface waters as a result of stormwater. So there is a whole process. Maybe this gentleman that Councilwoman Shropshire just mentioned has gone through this process to receive the assistance that the city manager just spoke about. So yes, the council can authorize the payment, and it's usually based on the recommendations of either the water director or the city manager to have the funding flow to this private citizen once they've gone through the process in section 2430, 8-2430.
Councilmember Cummings.
At this point, I'm trying to figure out,
The answer to your question is yes.
I don't know, because I need to, so this is the issue that you have with well, I can't talk to him. So the issue that he has is because of stormwater damage to his yard, correct?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay, so, and initially the total charge is $9,000. They've taken care of $6,000, and we're trying to figure out what a $3,000 is going to. What a $3,000, okay, all right.
But he can always appeal that, but we don't have to vote.
And just because, I just want to make sure that we're clear on the decision that we're making, because they're shaking heads, but I really can't talk to them. So I just really, just so that we can be informed about the decision. So, go ahead.
I just want to, because I think the facts might be a little different. It's been a while, and Lord knows I get up there and forget some things. But I believe there was a city vacated system that collapsed, and that part of that has created the situation. So there is some aspect of vacated city land or city facility, and when I say facility, I mean underground facility of some sort that was vacated that has over time corroded and collapsed. And I believe that created, but I'm also seeing no, so I'm not sure. But that's what I thought, it was something like that, yeah.
All right, so the $3,000, the remaining balance of $3,000, it appears that we want to take care of it. We just need to figure out what pot it's coming out of. So
The motion on the floor is to take care of it.
Okay, it's fine to take care of it, but the thing is, who takes care of it? What pot does it come out of?
We can make that determination.
Okay, you can make that,
The
okay, that's
yeah.
fine, all right. Thank you, I yield.
Yeah, I can't remember the order. I'll go to Councilmember Atkins. I know you were in Councilmember Mitchell and then Councilmember Freeling.
So my question is, I also understand that we're having issues like this in other parts of the city, and specifically, I would then bring to the forefront the property on Meadowlark Lane, Meadowlark Drive, which is the property of Ms. Robinson. And I know that we've been trying to address this issue, so this is also a stormwater issue. So we would then, I would like for Mr. Jackson's property to be addressed. I would also like for Dr. Robinson's property. Others have come based on some stormwater issues. The city has gone out and they've tried to correct the curve in the road. They've gone out and they've tried to do some other things on the property, but they have not adequately addressed the erosion that is happening there. So would the same apply to this property as well?
So my response to that, just having received the notice from Meadowlark today, that it is very important that the section of the code that I just mentioned is followed, so that there is a non-discriminatory, non-arbitrary application of the code to all of these properties that potentially may have these stormwater issues. And so it details exactly what the process is. Most importantly, it talks about the pro rata share of the city versus the pro rata share of the property owner. And so, in short, if the code is followed, you will have consistent results in what is eligible for the community assistance and what's not. Because it's not just this property that's on the, that Councilwoman Shropshire brought up.
Right, and so the part of the ordinance that you read, Madam City Attorney, it speaks to the process, which is going before the appeals board, is that correct? Is that a part of the process?
It is, but that's not the portion I read. The portion I read was the answer to the question whether the city council could, by motion, approve payment, and the answer to that is yes. What I also said is that there is a process that must be followed.
Okay.
And again, that's in section 8-2430, what that process is, to ensure that it is indeed a stormwater issue, to ensure that the pro rata share, and to ensure you have consistent results again amongst all citizens that are having these issues, because again, it's not just Mr. Jackson, it's the one you just brought up, and there was a previous one. So just, you have an ordinance to address these kind of things.
Okay. All right, yes, I'd like for the property owners to have their issues properly addressed, and so I will definitely make sure that I am following up so that, to your point, we're not doing something that's arbitrary, but it is inconsistent and compliance with our ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we could collect fees, Mr. City Manager. I know we're looking for a funding source for this. Every month for the stormwater utility fund, could that be a possible source? Is that not that money's for, or how does that work?
It could, and certainly I think it's already considered to be part of the assistance that would be needed for this forgiveness.
Okay, and this is probably, so we can probably avoid this. I think I've written up an ordinance to establish a stormwater administrative appeal board, because I think that is part of the process she was just talking about. And we want to try to not run into this issue with other property owners. So I might have that for Madam City Attorney to look over later, but thank you.
Member Freeland.
Councilmember Mitchell's question sort of touched on mine. I was going to ask, I know when we've discussed this over several months, and in past discussions, the stormwater fees have come up vis-a-vis this issue. So, Madam City Attorney, could you just speak to how those fees might play into this, if at all?
Are you speaking of the fees that are collected for the stormwater? So everybody pays a different fee based on the impervious surfaces on their property, right? And they may have different collection efforts on their property that would give each property owner a different fee. I can tell you that your ordinance just provides that the community assistance program, which is at discussion here, shall be funded by the stormwater utility fee that's collected from property owners. So that's the bucket of money that would go toward assisting property owners when they have indeed followed the process in 8-2430 to get money from the city's pro rata share, that is, of when there's a stormwater issue. Hopefully that addresses your question. But the fee is not the same fee across the board.
Understood, but it sounds like there's no question that there is a source of funding available for such a request.
Correct.
So that's, it's not a legal issue, nor is there a funding source question. It's a process question?
Process, and then part of that process is ensuring that the share that's owned by the city versus the share that's borne by the property owner, that's a part of that process.
And I don't know if either Mr. City Manager or Madam City Attorney, you can answer this. Are we certain of all of that tonight in this particular instance, as we're asked to make a vote?
I will say this, the last time it was talked about, when Ms. Echeverry was here, I butcher her name every time, I apologize, was that she indicated that the city's fee was the $6,000 and the property owner's fee was the $3,000. I do remember that conversation. I'm not sure what's changed since then, but that was the recommendation from our water director.
Okay.
And I would just add that that's my understanding as well. I think it wasn't about the fund, it wasn't about the fee, it was about the breakdown of the use of the program, which had stipulated a certain amount be contributed by the private owner and then a certain amount by the public, which would be the fund. I think the question that came up with Mr. Jackson's case was his wherewithal to pay his side of the private fund, which we do have utility forgiveness programs to help people when they have certain circumstances. And so that's where that option came from, to help him with a utility that he didn't have the wherewithal to take care of, but still created a situation that needed to be addressed.
Okay, so is this in addition to this process that's laid out in our ordinances? Is this a follow-on?
Well, there's two ways. I think probably the cleanest way, to be frank, is probably Council Member Shropshire's approach, because essentially what I'm hearing is her suggestion to waive the requirement to have a limitation on this particular case of the private match, if you will. And so either we take the approach where the council says, yeah, we'll forgive the match in this situation. Of course, I think, legal has, probably opinion on, does that mean we're going to get further requests like that? And does that create any kind of situation of equity on how we move forward? Or do we use the administrative approach that I was suggesting, was combining two programs because of the situation of this particular applicant, matches the citizens in need portion that the utility fund, and we do have a utility rescue fund, if you will, that helps citizens that are in need with utility expenses. Does this meet that need, as well as the program that we have that are built for stormwater needs, still allowing the limitations for the investment that the policy has, and then utilizing another program that addresses Mr. Jackson's particular need in his situation.
So, Madam City Attorney, what are your thoughts on what sort of legal standing or legal precedent a vote like this might create, or
So my opinion is that of the ordinance, because that's the guidance that you have. And I can read it to you guys, or we can pull it up so you guys can see exactly what the ordinance provides. I will point out that there is a specific section that says, this is subsection B, so bear with me, it's a little lengthy. Upon receipt of a statement, and the statement that they're referring to in the ordinance is the statement from the property owner, the Director, Department of Public Works, in coordination with the City Attorney, shall cause an investigation to be made to determine the amount and origin of surface waters contributing to the claimant's alleged damage. and also to the effect of the collection and discharge of water from city property, which may contribute to the claimant's alleged damage. The Director, Department of Public Works, in coordination with the city attorney, shall then determine in their best professional judgment the percentage of damage, if any, which may have been caused by the flow of surface waters from the city property. If the Director, Department of Public Works, determines that the city may be contributing to the claimant's damage, he shall then estimate the cost of material and expenses required to correct the claimant's drainage problem. The findings of the Director, this is the important part, Department of Public Works, shall then be forwarded to the city manager for resolution. So it does provide that the city manager has discretion in that resolution, but of course that does come to you guys. C says, in the event that the city manager determines from all available facts, including the report of the Director, Department of Public Works, the city attorney, and the statement filed by the claimant, that the collection and discharge of water from city property may be contributing or may have contributed to the claimant's damage, the city manager may recommend to the city council for consideration, and upon approval by city council, the city may offer to participate with the property owner in the improvement of the drainage area solely as an offer of compromise and settlement. The city's participation shall be at least equal to that percentage of the cost of materials, contractual expenditures, and labor required for which the collection and discharge of city water may be responsible, provided, however, as a condition precedent to the payment of any funds pursuant to this section or to the initiation of any improvement to the drainage area, the property owner shall execute on behalf of himself, his heirs, successors, assigns, blah, 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 a general release in the form prescribed, releasing and discharging the city from any damages, claims of damages. And then there's a condition precedent for the storm drainage improvement or installation that the property owner must place on file with the finance director the estimated cost for his pro rata share of the improvement as determined by the city manager and approved by the city council. That's to be placed in escrow. And the cost of the improvement as determined by the city manager and approved by the city council in conformance with an escrow agreement. Following the property owner's deposit of the estimated cost, then that's when the city will initiate the work through a contract that's approved by the city council. So you asked me what I think about it. I think you should follow the ordinance.
Which is as clear as muddy stormwater.
Well, there has been an investigation done. If you remember when it was discussed, I don't remember how long ago, but when it was discussed before, that investigation had been completed, and I think that's how you guys got to, or you heard from Water Services, that there was the 6 versus 3,000. But I understand what the motion is on the floor, and obviously that's going to be a decision of council, and it sounds like there's a recommendation based on his discretion in this ordinance I read that there be funding for that. Is that right?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. So the motion on the floor is to, let me just go back over it, is to waive the required recommendation from the Administrative Appeal Board concerning the determination of the stormwater engineering resolution report for Willie Jackson property located at 2424 Greenwood Circle, East Point, Georgia, in favor of Mr. Jackson in the amount of $3,000. So that's the motion.
My understanding of the recommendation is from the city manager, not the appeal board.
So then I'll amend it to instead of the appeals board, to that council approve it and not the recommendation of the city manager.
Yeah, so I think initially the motion said that to waive the fee per the recommendation of the Stormwater Appeal Board, the recommendation is from the city manager. That's the part of the motion.
Yeah. So the city manager makes the recommendation.
Correct.
Is what I'm hearing. And my next question is,
Hold on a minute, who made the second? There hadn't been a call on we're still in on discussion, so she can amend. Who made the second on the motion? Councilmember Mitchell, does your second still stand?
It does.
Okay. Councilmember Shropshire.
so my question is this. Mr. City Manager, apparently you've been in contact with someone in reference to this situation. At what point did y'all have a conversation with Mr. Jackson about his property or what you all was going to do? Because you're talking about equity and inclusion money when the city has stormwater money, which could easily cover the $3,000.
Yeah, I think I'm going to chime in before the city manager is put on the spot on that, because I think what the ordinance clearly says is that there has to be a decision by council. And so we're talking about two different issues. We're talking about whether or not it's going to be waived, and then we're talking about funding source. The decision to waive the fee is a council decision that the city manager can't make, regardless of whether or not he finds some funding source. And so the motion that you've made would allow to waive, because the city manager doesn't have the authority to do this, although there's probably discussion with at least somebody on council and whomever about how to resolve this. Per the ordinance, the city manager does not have the authority to waive the fee. The city manager can find funding sources, like within the budget, to cover this, and it sounds like it's a part of the storm. But the first thing that has to happen is a decision by council to waive, which is the motion, and then the funding source is a different question of council has made a decision to waive, there needs to be funding for it, and whether that's within his operational authority. I would like to get information on that equity and inclusion utilities program as it was set up, because I just don't recall it. I could be wrong. Anything else, Councilmember Shropshire?
No, but just the motion to waive.
We're still on discussion on it, and it's, the amended form as you amended it before the call. Council.
This is for Madam City Attorney. I know we were just going over the process. Could you go to section 10-5065? No, about the appeal, so say if somebody doesn't agree with the assessment of the city. Can you give me that section again? 10-50-64. Because that was going to be my question. If somebody didn't agree with the assessment of the city staff, what avenues would they have to appeal that decision? If you could explain that. Okay. Oh, you don't see it?
It's coming up.
Okay.
All right, so that is in the zoning ordinance. All right, so 10-5064 says, any person aggrieved by decision or determination of the Water and Sewer Stormwater Division shall appeal in writing within 30 days after the issuance of such decision or determination to the mayor and city council or their designee, and shall be entitled to a hearing within 45 days of the written appeal. So my answer to that is, I don't believe there has been a decision by...
Is that what we're doing now?
Well, no, this is a recommendation by the city manager to you guys to waive the balance of the overall cost to resolve the issue. And I don't know if this would help you much, because you're probably outside the 30 days. This has been going on much longer than a month.
Gotcha. Okay, I was just curious about that. Thank you.
Councilmember Butler.
I think my concern is that we're setting a precedent of waiving fees, and what we do for one person, we have to do for everyone. In this case, the director of the water department had come with a solution, and in order to meet the financial needs of the resident, the city manager came up with an alternative that allows us to stay within and not set a precedent, so if somebody else comes, I think the issue has been is the fact of the matter that it has not been done, but the funding had already been approved where Mr. Jackson would not have to spend any money out of pocket. So my concern with the way the motion is stated at this point is that what we do for one person, we will have to do for all.
Any further discussion? Again, the city manager does not have the authority to make this decision. City manager does not have the authority to come up with 100% funding per the ordinance. That would have to be by council, based upon the ordinance that was read into the record. All those in favor? All those opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Councilmember Shropshire? Yes. Councilmember Freely? Councilmember Atkins?
No.
Councilmember Cummings? No. Councilmember Mitchell? I'm sorry, what'd you say? Yes. Okay. Councilmember Butler? No. Councilmember Martin Rogers? Yes. The motion failed.
All right. Any other? Miss, former Mayor Pittman. Okay, but I'm just saying, you know you can't talk on the way out, Captain Robinson. So, please, if we can get order in the chambers. Thank you. Next up, who's in for comments? Councilmember Shropshire had finished her comments.
I had one more.
Your time had run out. The time went out right before we started the round of discussion on the motion.
It did, yes.
I'm just enforcing the new rules we have. So is anybody else? Comments from council. Councilmember Cummings.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank everyone that came out for the meeting, both in person and via live stream. I just had one announcement that I wanted to make. Just wanted to invite everyone out to register for the Senior Stroll. It's taking place at Sykes Park on November 8th. Senior Stroll we'll have registration at 8 o'clock, and we will stroll at 9, and I'll promise to have everyone home by 11. But just so there's a QR code that's on here. This is also being featured on our social media as well. The city's website, that information will be posted there as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so just want to mention that last week, Wednesday and Thursday, the City of East Point hosted MEAG, our Municipal Electrical Authority of Georgia, for its annual board meeting. And I would just like to give commendations to Ms. Elisa Persons and Ms. Karen Figueroa for doing an outstanding job working with their leadership and planning those 2 days. I think that everyone who came here from across the state for that board meeting had an enjoyable time. And so I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. And the second thing is that I think 2 weeks ago, the city hosted members of boards, authorities, and commissions. And of course, I've been talking about those for a very long time. It was standing room only. We had a lot of citizens to come out, and I'm hoping, Mr. City Manager, that we will ride that wave of enthusiasm and that we don't lose the excitement around that, and that these boards, authorities, and commissions can start meeting and make sure that they are contributing to the policies and have a say in providing recommendations to this body. Thank you.
Councilman Martin Rogers.
Yes, I wanted to just announce the best Wednesday night of the year will be at Chapel Hill Church for their Fall Festival, located at 4330 Washington Road, 30344. It's going to be held on October 22nd from 6:30 p.m. until 8 o'clock p.m. I also wanted to mention that with the current number of rental houses and rooms for rent in the city of East Point, and the fact that corporations own many of these houses, it has been difficult for the state of Georgia to keep up. Senator Ossoff has launched an inquiry into the buying up of single-family homes, and currently there's an investigation through HUD. No one purchases a home just because the purchase of a home is to plant roots. If the developer cannot sell, they will rent or sell to a corporation. Many residents currently reside in communities where corporations have purchased and rented out large quantities of houses, which creates a transient community for actual homeowners. It would have been nice to protect future homeowners' investment, especially with what is currently happening in the entire state of Georgia. Thank you.
Councilmember Butler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would just like for us to bring attention to the current attack of the 1965 Voter Rights Act. That Voter Rights Act was signed by Lyndon Johnson, President Lyndon Johnson, August 6, 1965, after pressure from Martin Luther King, SNCC, and other civil rights organizations. Currently, Article 2, which addresses discrimination based on race, is being heard by the Supreme Court. And I want to just remind our citizens that, democracy, we must be diligent in defending democracy. And we cannot, in all good conscience, forget about the price that was paid by ancestors in order for us to have the Voters' Rights Act. There were people, black, white, Jews, that died so that we could have that 1965 Voters' Rights Act. And we cannot stand by and just allow it to go away.
I think we have to remember elections have consequences, and the upheaval in our country at this time is directly tied to an election result. And all elections are critical to progress. This early voting is happening now. For municipal elections next year, there will be county and statewide elections, gubernatorial elections. It is critically important that we vote in every single election and then hold people accountable that we elect, but also those who are not elected, that we don't elect. The challenge right now is that the numbers is not working in the Senate and the House, and there's not enough focus on the issues and the people of this country to be able to put party aside and politics aside to make the decisions that will save our democracy. And now we have a Supreme Court that is also stacked with appointments by the current person who occupies the White House. And so this is a time to be extremely vigilant, but also to have a heightened level of accountability. And when people show you who they are, believe them, and treat people for who they are, not who you want them to be. And make sure that what we demonstrate is the love, the humanity, the respect for all human rights, and the respect for humanity, and actually demand that of our leaders. Over 7 million people on Saturday came together to demand that across this country. And it's going to take more organizing, it's going to take more advocating, it's going to take a very heightened level of accountability. We have coming up this month a safe place for our youth on Halloween. Our 11th annual City of East Point Mayor and City Council present the 11th annual Halloween Festival on Friday, October 31st from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. here at East Point City Hall. Next up, do we have any? We have a presentation, item number 4, Get a motion, oh no, it's a presentation, I'm sorry. Councilmember Atkins.
Madam Mayor, a few meetings ago, we had conversations. I had asked the clerk's office to provide information regarding payment of our credit cards, tracking of the expenditures from our individual council accounts. As we know, we do receive 3 separate buckets of monies that we could use for various things, $1,800 of that for office supplies, $12,000 for travel and training, and $11,250 for professional services or community engagement. And so I know that I've had some trouble with my credit card a few times, and so I had questions around that. And then a part of the presentation that the clerk and the then interim Finance Director, Mr. Golden, provided, there were a few additional things that I wanted to know. And so I've spoken with the clerk, and she's prepared to answer some of those additional questions. So I'll turn it over to the clerk.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Atkins. So the purpose of the presentation is to provide an overview about how our credit card expenses are tracked and managed, and to ensure transparency and accountability in spending, and clarify the process for submitting receipts and manage budget limits. See, our office maintains an in-office council credit card tracking sheet. This sheet allows us to monitor all council member purchases in real time. And when I say council credit card tracking sheet, but it's really a overall, my mind just went blank. It's an overall budget tracking sheet. So it's not just for credit cards, for all budgets. Each council member is notified individually when their account is close to its limit, meaning if my office has a $3,000 limit on getting supplies for the office, like at $2,500, like, hey, we only got $500 left for the remainder of the fiscal year. So we do the same with council. It's just a proactive approach. It prevents overspending and ensures compliance with city's policy. The credit card limit information, council members' credit cards have $5,000. The balances are monitored as we receive the receipts, because it's not like my personal bank. I can't just log in and see what everyone's balance is. In order for me to do so, I will have to call everybody's card individually to find out what it is in real time. Like I said, we do as we receive the receipts, we ensure that the spending remains within an approved limit. And when the balance is getting low in your accounts, we call council to let them know, and that's in your account as far as, say, with the city clerk supply account. If our supplies are getting low, our account is getting low, we know that we just have to cut off spending for that moving forward. All right, as far as receipt submission process, so once credit card statements are received, we reach out to each council member for the missing receipts. Our preference is that they're submitted to us as the purchases occur to streamline reconciliation. And we prefer that because we have a notebook that we keep in our office that's separated by each member. So as we get the as we receive receipts from each said council member, we put it behind their name. So when the credit cards come, some of you we don't have to reach out to, because we already have the information that we need. Prompt receipt submission allows accurate categorization and faster reporting. And upon receiving the receipts, we also categorize it to where it comes from. Either it can come from your other professional fees, or your education and travel, or your event line items. Say you have an event coming up, we know it's coming from said event. If we don't know, we'll call and verify. Either way, we'll still let you know. It also can come from your council fees, that $1,800. And like I said, if we're unclear about where it's coming from, and I have no idea, or we just can't pick it up, we'll just call you directly to ask for clarification of where it needs to come from. As far as the budget monitoring, we do track each council member's budget activity and remaining balances, and that's in-house, within our office. We have a spreadsheet. I do have it to pull up if you need to see. When funds are running low, again, we let them know individually. And like I said, we're aware of the purchases as receipts and invoices are submitted, ensuring proactive budget oversight. For our office requests, like for me, for just our office as a whole, like I said, if you send us the receipts at the time of purchase, that helps us. It helps us not submit missing receipt forms. I know I've been asked about the missing receipt forms. However, I already reach out to Regions prior to 2 days after the statements close. I reach out to the bank. We typically get the statements. If I reach out, we'll get them within a day or two after that. If I don't reach out, we have to wait for it to come in the snail mail, which is why I reach out. So when we're getting it, it's maybe 4 or 5 days into past the due date. So whenever you get the emails from us stating that, hey, these are the missing receipts, that means that we just got the bills, because we always process them all on the same day. And these, we put down which receipts we need. And if we don't have them by a certain time, we're not about to hold up your credit card payment to be. You say, why? Oh. Sorry, okay. I just don't want to be blamed for holding up anyone's credit card payment without the receipt instead of putting in the missing receipt form. Yep. And that is, okay, what questions do y'all have for me?
Okay.
Councilmember Atkins.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. A few questions. There was a slide that had our limits, our individual credit card limits on that. Where's that limit documented, codified? And I'm asking that question because if I look at my statement sometimes has a limit of 4,000, sometimes a limit of 5,000. And so I'm not sure how that fluctuates. I understand that I think some of my colleagues have said that their limits are even greater than that. And so where is that policy that our limit is 5,000?
There is no certain policy that says that it's 5,000.
So it's just arbitrary. Who comes up with the amount?
It was 4,000 at one point, but
Is that a decision made by you or finance? Who communicates with the bank?
myself and finance.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
Does finance make a decision, or how are they involved in the decision around credit limits?
Credit card limits, to my understanding, the only time there's any kind of credit card limit change is maybe if there is a situation where council people are stranded and can't get their cars to be worked, but I only know of that situation where limits have been changed. So I'm not real sure how those limits were ever determined to begin with, and I don't can't say for sure what outside of emergency situations why those limits would ever change, or I'm just not familiar with that process.
Councilmember, Mr. Jones, it looks like the interim
I
director.
also see our interim finance director, Ms. Cartwright, might have some more information about that.
Mayor, Council, typically with the limits, that's something that's adopted by you all, and so that's something I'm looking for now to see what that limit is for you, because I want to make sure that everyone is consistent. So I just wanted to inform you that I am looking for a policy that shows what the credit limit should be for you all.
Thank you, Ms. Cartwright. Madam Clerk, would that documentation that speaks to the limit, would you be the custodian of those documents so that you would be able to provide that information to Ms. Cartwright as our interim finance director.
Yes, I'll be able to provide that to her.
So there is documentation that shows
It would
what
be
the limit should be?
On the actual credit card statement, yes, it does. say
No,
that.
but would this body have made a decision as to what the credit card limit should be? And is there a document that reflects that?
No,
So there's never been a decision, a consensus by this body of what the limit could be?
no.
Okay, so it could be 15, 20,000 and,
No, it can't be that.
well,
either,
then
but-
it's subjective. Then someone is
Yes.
making a subjective decision to change it. So I just can't imagine that there's not a document somewhere that states what the limit for each council member would be.
So I think that's the question again for operations and finance. The city clerk doesn't set credit card limits, which is why I turned to the city manager and then the interim director came up. Generally, that type of information might be in a credit card policy itself or some other policy. It seems like Ms. Cartwright is looking for it to see if it exists or where it is to be able to share with council, but that's not something that the city clerk would do.
Right. I'm not even stating that the city clerk would do that, but the city clerk is a custodian of documents. And so my question to the city clerk was, if she's responsible for being the repository for documents, that she could provide that document. I also agree, Madam Mayor, that the city clerk wouldn't set the limit. There oftentimes members of this body will state that it's a self-policing body, so that they would have then determined what that limit would be, and then there would be some document to reflect that. So I'm not asking that the city clerk determines what the limit would be. I'm asking if the city clerk can provide the document that shows what that limit would be, so that we could all be consistent in terms of what our credit card limits are. I know that mine has changed, and if I look at different statements, it's a different amount. And so in terms of following a policy, I think that there just has to be something somewhere, and then making sure that it is equitable across the board.
So that's just something I can reach out to the bank to and work with finance to
So
get,
no,
or-
it's not really
Not
the
like
bank.
that?
It's gonna either be a policy or an ordinance previously possibly adopted by prior council. Like, the credit cards aren't new. So this is something that's been around for a while. If there's something, it might require a level of research into council meeting minutes, into ordinances, into policies, to see if something exists. I think that's what Councilmember Atkins is asking.
Correct. The other question, I think on one of your slides, if you go back a couple of slides, it talks about the receipts. And it just says prompt, something about receiving receipts promptly. And so that would be relative. The same document may speak to when we are to provide receipts. And so for your office and your estimation, what would you consider prompt submission?
The day after you make your purchase. Like I said, we have a whole notebook that's broken up by each of you. So if we already have it, when the credit card bills come, outside of your redacted bill that we send, like that's all we would need from you.
Okay. Well, there are two thoughts I have around that. One goes to your comment about when the bills come, your office pays them. And there are times your office pays those bills without any receipt or documentation for the expenses, correct?
If we don't receive the receipt within the day, we go ahead
And so if at some point you receive a receipt and it's not for an authorized charge that we could use city funds for, what would then be the recourse? Because now we've already paid the bill.
Correct. Then I have not, that is not nothing that I have done as of yet.
Okay. The other question, the categorization of the expenses, with those three buckets, if you go to that particular slide, what I have and what I recall, and I'm happy to stand corrected if it's not what is actually reflected in our budget. But I recall those three buckets, one being office supplies, the other being travel and training, and then professional services or community engagement. But I see here we have an event line, and I never recall us having a bucket of dollars for events.
It's just that's just a line item for all council events. So say if you had a Ward B town hall meeting and you provided food or whatnot, and those expenses would have come out of, it is a line item in there that's for events that aren't planned, so special events, those purchases will come out of that.
So is that a part of the 11,250?
No, that's your other professional fees.
I'm sorry?
The $11,250, that's your other professional fees.
So this is another bucket of money, the event line items, is that another pot of money that's not
So basically,
included in those three other buckets?
so basically, it's all council events. However, one of them in particular is because sometimes we do have pop-up events. So that is what caused me to put the special events line item in the budget for the last couple of years, because we've had events outside of the events that were already budgeted in the budget, and we did not have the proper funding for it.
What is that amount, that total amount? Or is it?
$50,000 overall.
Is 50,000? Okay. And is that then divided by 8?
It's for any one of council who has those events that weren't initially budgeted within the budget.
Okay. As it relates to I think I had another question about are you able to show us the document that you use when you're tracking the different expenditures and the different buckets to charge them against?
Let's scroll down. And it's broken down by months. And it's literally all of our, this is literally all of the events that are budgeted within the actual budget for this fiscal year.
So if I were to ask how much would I have remaining in office supply budget, in my office supply bucket, I mean, I track that, but where would you track it for me?
Right here. We have it by other people's name. You see, we have it separated by different councils' names. And then your education and travel, your other professional fees, council expense allowance is separated by council member.
Okay. Those are all the questions that I have for now. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Madam City Clerk, for your presentation. Couple questions. So whatever the balance is, that balance is paid every month, whatever on all the credit cards. So do we do partial payments, or is this the total, whatever your balance is, it's paid every month?
Total payment.
Okay, and for the most part, I guess you kind of do the reconciliation because all the receipts may not come in within that month. So it's kind of like you're doing 30 days out, just to sort of match up all the receipts and everything?
Not necessarily 30 days, but like I said, we're already getting the credit cards a few days later. It's also going to take a couple days for it to process, unless finance does me a favor. And then we still have to have them processed at the bank as well. So, and then once it's processed at the bank, it still takes a day or two to actually have the balance go back onto your card, even with me taking it straight to Regions Bank.
Okay, so, and when if you don't have a receipt, you turn in one of the missing receipt forms, correct?
Correct.
So with the missing receipt forms, is there a limit to how many, that we can have per month?
No.
All right, but for the most part, it's going to be reconciled. If you don't have an actual receipt, then there's going to be a missing receipt form.
Correct.
Okay. Do we have any penalties or anything in place when receipts aren't provided?
No.
So that, okay, so the entire balance is paid. What do we do if there is no receipt? So I think definitely we should do something, and there's no, so we turn those in, is there some sort of program or something that's out there where you can just kind of upload? I think City of South Fulton, they may do something where they upload receipts, and I think that'll kind of maybe cut out a lot of, having the actual hand in paper. I don't know if it's some sort of software or something that we can use, but I think that may assist you, that may help you out a whole lot. If they're just uploaded up and then you could just take them and transfer them into a digital file for everyone, as opposed to a folder, and they could be attached, because I don't know what and I guess that's for in-house purposes when you attach the receipts to the, to each credit card purchase, correct?
Right, correct.
So I don't know, City Manager Jones, if that's some sort of software. I know we got and I don't know if that's in the OpenGov or whatever. I know we got some sort of software, credit card stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But if that's something that we could possibly use, and it may help out, because if I go to the store and I make a purchase, I can snap a picture of it and then upload it to you. So is that something that we could possibly consider looking at? And I think that'll alleviate a lot of the missing receipt forms.
I'll have our interim director speak to that.
So, Councilwoman Cummings, yes, the Concur program that we're looking at, you'll be able to use your cell phone to upload the receipt, and then they'll go into that billing cycle, and then she'll be able to pull it over when she's creating her requisition.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, good. I think that would definitely help her office out a whole lot. I yield.
Thank you. So I think everything we just discussed, I think this is very important because even last meeting, we were trying to come up with a process to determine what's authorized and what's not authorized. So we just can't put all of that on staff. I don't think that's fair. And then I know they're asking what would happen if this happened. I guess we've never been in a situation where they had to determine what is considered authorized, not authorized. So what happened if I don't get a receipt, have a receipt? I think we have to put those policies in place and actually make them enforceable. So even right now, so what if that happens and it just keeps happening and there's no repercussion? I do think that's on us as council members to come up with some type of policy so we can answer those questions, but we're going to have to make these rules. Even last meeting, I suggested the oversight committee, and I was kind of listening to what everyone was saying. I do think we can have a forensic auditor, but I don't think it should be one person working on it. They should work with maybe the oversight committee so there's more than one set of eyes on these reports every month. I think, that could be somewhat of a compromise, but I think ultimately we're going to have to set these rules, and then we're going to have to enforce the rules when it comes down to it. So I know we're still working on some stuff, but a lot of the, I think, questions that were asked tonight, we don't have anything that's clear in writing and enforceable. So this is something to think about. Thanks.
Councilmember Cummings.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And to sort of piggyback on what Councilmember Mitchell talked about, I think there does need to be some sort of vetting process in place for just credit card purchases. And no, it shouldn't. At one time, I did suggest, I think I've looked at other cities and they have at least administrator. Or if we have an oversight committee, I don't know, but it needs to be some sort of vetting process in place for a, and I call it a go and a no-go list. I don't think it's hard to blur the lines on what we should and should not be using these cards for, but I do definitely think that we need some sort of vetting process in place to say what's allowed and what's not allowed. Even though, I think as a body, we know what we should and should not use the cards for. But in those instances when the card is used for things that it shouldn't be used for, there should be some sort of penalty. Definitely some sort of payback and maybe some sort of progressive discipline along the way with that. And like you said, I don't think, even though the mayor had even suggested before when I had suggested you that we shouldn't put that on you, and I'm fine with that, but I do think that somebody or someone or a group we need to have some sort of vetting process in place because, just from time to time, cards could be used and for their unintended purposes. So I just think definitely we need to do something with regards to that. I yield.
So, there are things that are clearly prohibited from use of city credit cards. Can't buy gift cards, can't spend city money, use credit cards for beer, wine, alcohol. Like, there's a current credit card policy, there's state law, like there are things that are in place, and I know we're looking at revising our current credit card policy, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe it has some list of things that are prohibited or that you can't spend. Now, maybe there's a desire to increase it, but some of the things that don't have a receipt that are questionable, like, should not be paid. And we've had these conversations before, and the staff should bring that to council. We're not suggesting that a staff member should go back and forth with one of the potential non-supervisors, but if it's not coming to this council and it's just being paid, like it's not being brought to the attention. We talked about this last week. It takes 5 council members to make a decision. So to create another committee that can then only make recommendations to the full council might not create a situation where we can have a committee meeting and a council meeting within the 30-day period that the credit card needs to be paid. So there's definitely room for improvement, but we can't say that we have nothing, that there's nothing written that says that we can't use our credit card for certain things. Like, there are clear prohibitions. There are clearly things that we know we can't use them for. And there's requirements for receipts. And if we're getting to a point where there are too many missing receipts, like, instead of continuing to just do that, that's something that should be brought to our attention. Nobody's asking the city clerk to make that decision, but it has to be brought to the council. And so we get into this pattern of paying, I mean, even acknowledge it, that bills are being paid without receipts, because receipts haven't been given, but we don't want to be late on paying the bill. But if there's an expense that's paid that shouldn't have been paid, like, there's not an effort to claw back that or reverse the charge. So, again, I think there's definitely room for improvement, but we can't sit here and say that there are things that we can't purchase, use our card or use city funds to purchase, and that we don't know those things. Like, that's just not true. And so there may be some other things that we want to add to that, but there's clearly some things that just can't be done. And, we pay staff pretty well in the city. And there's an expectation that if we're processing credit card bills and payments and receipts, I've worked in government probably over 2 decades or nonprofits, and I've had P cards, I've had credit cards, I've had all the things, and have to submit expense reports, a spreadsheet with the receipt. But a receipt is required. And if there's a question on the receipt, there's an expectation that it's looked into. But, the infamous Gene Wilson always says, inspect what you expect. If not, you get nothing. And so, that expectation clearly needs to be met with something else. But let's not sit here and act like we don't know that certain things are prohibited and that there currently exists in either the credit card policy, state law. Like, when we sign off for these things, there's a couple things, if not a lot, that are clearly listed. And so I think on the November work session. I think there's a continuation of it. I know Ms. Cartwright just went over credit card policy, or travel policy, credit card, like we're doing different iterations, and so that can stay on the work session. But as we think about a process, like having a committee that then has to recommend to council, and council has to have a meeting, are we going to start having special call meetings just about credit cards, or are we going to time them so that they're coming to council if there are issues? I'm not saying everything, I mean, that's going to make the meetings even longer, like if we're doing every single charge. And so the vetting happens at the staff level. This is where it happens with all the other credit card purchases in the city. It's at staff. And whoever the staff person is that's supporting mayor and council, if there's an issue, they bring it forth. They elevate it, they escalate it, right? That person would escalate it to their supervisor, and this person would escalate it to council, and we have to figure out what that looks like and how we get here. But, you know, to act like there's nothing and that we all don't know that certain things are prohibited, I think that's just, I can't think of the word I want to use. I'm trying to be tactful. But, so November 10th work session. I know we have the credit card policy, we have the travel policy. Councilmember Atkins, do you want this to be an agenda item that flows with those? I mean, they're kind of part of the same process, but.
Yes, I would, because I also would like to just make sure that based on the budget that this body passed, that we are adhering to those limits per the different categories, because the credit card limit, whether it is 4,000 or 5,000 times 12, far exceeds that amount. And so if this body continues to use those cards for the 12-month period, it is likely that we will go over those buckets. And so I would like for this to travel with the credit card policy and the travel policy. Ms. Cartwright?
Yeah, I think you raise a good point. When there is travel, I mean, airfare and hotel could be a couple $1,000s, right? And so I think when you're thinking about limits, yeah, for the total year, it shouldn't go over what's budgeted, but in order to be able to travel to conferences, that's probably something that should be considered when determining what the limit should be. Looking at the average conference price or the conferences that we know we attend, GMA, NLC, MEAG, like there's certain ones that can look at what the travel costs were. For at least hotel and airfare, if we move to per diem and stop using.
Well, Madam Mayor, you also just brought up per diem, and Madam Clerk, are you also tracking the per diem and charging it against the travel and training budget? Okay.
Councilman Atkins, I just wanted to point out that on the finance side, we do track the council departments. And so as you can see, this is the Q3 report. And so I look at the budget, and then if there's something that stands out to me, I'll reach out to the city clerk. And so there are a few areas that do stand out, but right now is the percentage of the variance is about 33%. And so even at the end of the day, the variance for each of the departments is under that 33%. There is a couple of areas in here that there's a couple of things that I noticed today, and I actually worked through that with Human Resources. It just looks like there's a couple of salary lines that need to be reclassified. So these are the areas that you probably were looking for earlier, and I think that the city clerk is only tracking special events and professional services where I have everything listed for the budget. And so I look at the budget here, and then the total that's been spent for the year to date, and then I look at all the variances for each general ledger line.
And that's for each individual council member?
Yes, sir.
Against those 3 buckets that we approved as a part of the budget?
Yes, and this is the adopted budget, so I'm following this adopted budget. I like to look at it every month, but at least every quarter.
And speaking of adopted budget, do we know when that is going to be available online, or is it already?
Yes, sir, it's already up on the internet, on the website.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I am currently looking at the, our current credit card policy and the restrictions that they do have on there. There are 4: cash advances, personal purchases, gasoline purchase, or vehicle repairs, unless outside the service area, and alcoholic beverages. So those are the 4 items that are prohibited. The only thing that I'm saying is, like you said, there are some things that are in place, which are these here that are stated. But there should be some sort of vetting process in place, because like I say, if it's credit card statements may be paid and there's no receipt, that's part of the vetting process. So whatever or however we look at it, it needs to be a vetting process in place. Who does it? I don't know. But I'm just saying, because we do not currently have it in place, and I understand Madam City Clerk, I mean, she is doing, she's doing her job, and it is, if it's to make because if the payments aren't made, then we incur late fees and other things like that. So I understand what it is from that perspective, and I don't think that is in, when it comes to credit cards or whatever, I don't think that's in her description under her preview that, hey, you need to look at these, and if it's something that you agree with or not agree with, but because it seems like that's what you're saying that she should do. So either she's the one that's going to vet it, or we need to have somebody in place, but we need some sort of vetting process in place, just if nothing else, to make sure that we do keep up just with accountability with the receipts, if that's what it is. Now, whether it's a charge or something that she may, well, I don't think that this is something that should have been charged. I don't know. And if we don't want to place that on her, I'm fine with that, but it needs to be placed on somebody, just to kind of look at just to do a brief overview. And if there are some issues or concerns, it needs to be brought to somebody's attention, as opposed to just here and purchases are made and the bill is just paid every month. That's what I'm saying. I yield.
Councilmember Martin Rogers.
Thank you, and I've heard a lot of discussion. Some of it I agree with, but for the most part, there were 2 things that happened when I was elected council member. I had to sign off from the city clerk's office to receive the credit card that had a list of, that had quite a bit of information relating to the card. And then I had to take an oath of office. It's been quite a bit of a discussion. However, what I haven't heard was the talk about educating council members. Yes, we should know what we should and should not be purchasing, but there hasn't been any discussion on ownership of educating council members to the point of, this is probably what you should and should not be purchasing. Like, to some degree, it is a responsibility of that council person to decide what charges they're going to make. So while you're having these discussions, we need to talk about educating, and maybe it could occur every year at those council retreats. We review the credit card policy, but at some point, ownership has to be placed back on the council member. I mean, we all have credit cards, but I haven't heard any discussion on educating council members or putting ownership back on the person that has the credit card. Thank you.
Thank you. And let me say this. We all talk about things that we should not purchase. And there were comments made about grocery stores. First of all, when you have events and you're doing things, and you should know because you have them, and you purchase things with your credit card, just like I purchase things with my credit card for the events that I have. So I don't think no one is, well, I'm going to say I'm not just willy-nilly going to the grocery store buying groceries. If you're having an event, and whatever that month is, and I'm going to use Wednesday Wine Down because it goes from May to August. But if you look at the credit card, you can pretty much tell what's going on during that time frame. And there is no crime to use Amazon. I think everybody uses Amazon. And I do get things from Amazon, and I do get things that are in people's riders that you have to have. So I'm just not willy-nilly just going to the grocery store. No, there are things that's in their riders. You know, those things that tells you what they have to use, the sound they have to use, the things that they have to have, those things. And far as travel, I think I traveled less, probably twice, NLC and Savannah. So I don't know where that erroneous number came from. So if you're gonna put facts or you're gonna state things, state the truth. Because we can also talk about the things that you did when you served your one term, which was nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to go back to a point. So we were trying to figure out earlier, I think we're still trying to figure out what notifying council would look like. I know this discussion came up. Do we expect staff to, when they see a problem, send it to forward, CC everybody, if they're having a consistent problem with a council member doing receipts or whatever, do they keep bothering them? I think it's going to take a lot we have to figure out a process for this. If we're expecting her to make decisions on what's supposed to be paid and CCing everybody and kind of making, I think, some guidance is going to be needed. Or even if there could be a liaison to help do that, or somebody that's on the council. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I know Mr. Redmond brought up, was it when you publicly go through the bills and this, that, and the third? I guess with the things that, that's saying how we have to come up with a process of what's going to qualify as a problem. And then once that problem is qualified, how do we alert the other council members? If that's ultimately what it's going to come down to, whatever that may look like. But I think it's just a lot on staff to try to figure out about themselves. We're going to have to give them some direction on this before I think anything substance. Excuse me. Before anything, I think we actually start to see any real change. Yeah, thank you.
Ms. Cartwright, when was this alleged adopted budget put on the website?
I'm looking for it, but I did send it over to our IT director, who sent it over to the webmaster. I think his name was Michael. So I just need to find that.
So while you're looking for that, it's concerning that the alleged adopted budget book that's online, on the cover it says adopted budget. Wait, I'm on the right. On the cover it says adopted budget book. But on page 3, it says fiscal year 2026 proposed budget, which is the same thing on the proposed budget. The other thing, and I haven't looked at all of the pages just because I was just made aware that it's here, the alleged adopted budget is 150 pages.
Yes, ma'am.
The proposed budget, that was before council, when council made the decision, is 378 pages. So the alleged adopted budget is 228 pages less.
Those are the detail lines that were removed. They were removed from.
But that's not the budget. What's online is a summary. There's not one line item on this adopted budget. There's not one page, and I scrolled through them quickly, that shows revenues, expense. All of this is in narrative format. And I'm scrolling quickly, but I don't see any of the department line items that is in the proposed budget
Yes, ma'am.
that is 378 pages. In this document that is allegedly the adopted budget, I'm scrolling through, I don't see any of the department budgets and
Yeah.
line items.
You're
So this is
correct.
not an approved, this isn't an adopted budget.
You're correct. The detail lines were removed from the adopted budget, and I guess historically, that had been something that was done, and that
No.
was something
No.
that was put on.
If
the-
I go back and pull up fiscal year 25 adopted budget or 24, like, this isn't a budget, this is a narrative.
Correct.
So if anybody went on and tried to look at a department budget that was approved, it's not in this adopted budget. There's all narratives and tables.
So I can go back in and add those detail lines back in and have that uploaded back into the website.
Yeah, I just don't know how it's a budget without it.
Okay, I can do that.
In page 3, if this is an adopted budget, it should say the adopted budget, but again, I'm not sure. I'm still scrolling, but I haven't come across any departmental budgets. I haven't come through the revenue section by department and the expenditure sections by department, which is in the 378-page proposed budget book and not in the 50-page. So, thank you for your willingness to make sure that we have an adopted budget online, because right now, as of today,
I'll
we still
definitely check
don't.
into that.
And the budget was adopted on June 30th.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So these items will be on the November work session. Any committee reports from either the Council, Human Resources Committee, or Budget and Finance Committee? To adopt the consent agenda items number 5 through 14.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Councilmember Shropshire?
What did we just do? We just,
Adopt the consent agenda items 5 through 14.
oh, okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is item number 15. Can we get a motion to open the floor for discussion and possible action?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open. Mr. Jones.
Which item are we on again? Yeah, so this item
Could
15
you
is
come
on
forward,
Parks,
please?
Parks and Rec. I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to talk about my agenda item. I know last week, my Assistant Director spoke about these improvements that we were looking to make to some of our city parks. He was advised at that time to go to a community meeting at Colonial Hills Unity Park. From my understanding, it was well attended. We provided the renderings of the change that we were making. It was also a recommendation to enhance another feature that the community wanted that we will be able to satisfy as well. But from my understanding, everything was well, excuse me, well received.
15 about the upgrades, I think. Maybe
Yeah, it was 3 spaces.
Councilmember, Ziegler. Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. I have a question.
Yes.
When you have these community meetings, and I know it came up maybe last week, you speak with the residents of Center Park as well as
Sumner.
Sumner
Yep.
Park. Unity Park over in Ward B.
Yes.
And at that time, do they, because I know we talked about this for quite some time before you submitted the new playgrounds.
Yes.
And it came up, the conversation said to have the community meetings with the neighborhoods so they can see what's going on, they can know what kind of, what's going on in the park, to get their input.
Yes.
Have that happened?
Yes, specifically Center Park. I presented to Center Park probably about a year and a half ago of the plans. We were making capital requests at that time. We were applying for grants that we did not get. And once the capital money was approved, we went forward with the project. But I'm a frequent visitor at all of the community meetings, talking about updates that we have. 95% of the time, I'm actually the one that's presenting at these community meetings, keeping everybody informed of what we're doing.
Okay, and that works the same with Sumner Park as well?
Yes.
Because I know we talked about the benches, the seating over there.
Yep.
And I think at that time, you all had started replacing them.
Yes.
And what about Unity Park? You have had conversations with the residents over there as well as Brookdale Park?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So speaking of some of those parts that you're referring to, with a lot of the ARPA funding that we got in FY25, I was able to satisfy a lot of the seating concerns. We had a lot of our parks sit in floodplains. So a lot of these renovations that we're doing, I can't remove it from being in the floodplain, but it is some leveling that we've been able to do, and also provide accessibility in all of our parks. Most of our playgrounds and park spaces had zero accessibility, in particular Colonial Unity. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it. The bridge was in horrible shape back in 2020. We had Fulton County grant funds to get the park back functioning, creating accessibility, and now we're addressing the playground equipment. So it's been a phase and a process for the last 4.5 years over there. And this particular request will button up everything at that park.
So it was just like Center Park for
Yes.
those who don't know. Center Park
Very bad
had
shape.
turned into a beaver dam because it was it was underwater. It was bad, and they had to redo the whole park. Beavers had set up a dam.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilmember Martin Rucker.
Yes, and thank you so much for what you do, Director Pinkett, for our Parks and Recreation Department. But very quick, do these upgrades include ADA compliance?
So yes, the particular playground feature that we're talking about with Colonial Unity, it does have that as a part of it. The swing set initially that we changed out probably about 6-7 months ago was not accessible, so that feature was added as it pertains to the swings, and then the playground piece will definitely have those components a part of it.
All right, and then a follow-up question to that is, I know that you've done a great job with that special needs population of students in and around East Point. Is there something going to be implemented or instituted on these playgrounds for the special needs population? Maybe not just yet, but as we're looking at the future of our parks, also including those quiet spaces or spaces specifically geared towards that population of students.
Yes, so back in November of '24, when we initially started the push for accessible playground spaces, one of the things that we did do at that time is install a lot of auto-sensory equipment along with the accessibility pass to actually enter the play spaces. So there is something that we've been doing. When I'm attending these conferences, we're always looking at new technology. They made a lot of improvements and different enhancements that we can make in some of our smaller parks to address families that have those concerns.
Councilmember Atkins.
Yes.
Thank you, Director Pinkett, and I know that Assistant Director Anderson is not here, but I also want to thank him for attending the Colonial Hills meeting last week and presenting this. And you talked about one of the enhancements or the changes that will happen for Unity Park. I believe that the residents currently have 2 slides, and the new equipment was only for 1. And
It's
I
2.
think it's 2?
It was just the angle of the rendering, but there are 2 slides.
Okay, so they will definitely have 2 slides, so it'll be replaced. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Thank you so much for your leadership. I can't recall which parks will be getting EV charging stations, but will either of these in item number 15, I feel like at least?
Yeah, so I call them our banner parks. Those are our bigger acreage parks. So right off top, it was John D. Milner, Brookdale, Sumner, and Jefferson Rick. So I think you had a question when I was presenting it a couple council meetings back. There are actually 2 charging ports per station. I think you asked, if it's only 1, but there are actually 2 ports per station. So for example, at Sykes Park, if we put 2 out there, it'll actually be 4.
Okay, so of the parks that are in item number 15, Sumner and Sykes should be getting EV
Correct.
charging stations?
Yes.
Thank you for your leadership in ensuring that we are doing all that we can to go green and for climate sustainability and really just keeping up with the innovation around parks and usage and functions at parks. So we appreciate that. There's a ask from Parks and Rec that we approve vendor gain time from the cooperative agreement of Omnia Partners for Sumner and Colonial Hills Unity Park Playground upgrades and Sykes Park Tennis and Pickleball Facility, funded and approved through capital improvement, our capital improvement plan not to exceed $151,000.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is council review and approval of the intergovernmental agreement for MARTA's safe routes to transit, bus stop, and pedestrian improvements. We had a motion to open the floor for discussion of possible action.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Yes.
All those, not on that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Shropshire, and we have Mr. Reeves at the podium as well.
Thank you. Mr. Reeves, my question is, so I was having a conversation with someone, and they said that is the MARTA doing any upgrades to the East Point MARTA station? Are they doing any work?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I saw them doing some work out on the sidewalk where they were doing some power washing of the sidewalk. I think the MARTA station that is having some work being done right now would be the West End. I think it's closed for some work to be done. I did get some emails on that, one of those
West End
stations.
train station?
Yes, ma'am. I think that's the one that might have partially closed.
So here's some of the concerns that I have that residents have. There's one side of the MARTA station that supposedly the gates don't work and anybody is just coming in. Secondly, that leads up to the bridge where they said there was someone sleeping up under the bridge, sleeping in the bridge. And I know the city works to clean it, keep it clean. I do know that, and thank you all for that. But I guess it's an ongoing problem where people are just urinating under the bridge and over the bridge, and it's to the point where people rather not even take the bridge, they would go another route. So who can we talk to? One, in reference to if there is a gate that's open that's allowing people to come in, and they say, and maybe this is a question for the police, possibly gang activity. So who can we talk to with MARTA to make sure that that train station is safe?
I'm not, I'm not sure about the gate information, but we'll reach out if there's some information can be sent to us, we will reach out in reference to the gate that might be in question. I don't think it's part of us, but we'll reach out to them. Also, the other thing about the unhoused, there has been an unhoused individual that was sleeping underneath the steps that go up by the elevators. They were sleeping down there, and there is some stuff that goes on. We definitely clean the elevators. People throw trash in there, defecate in there, urinate in there. Each year we end up having to pay for going down underneath the elevator pit and having to get it cleaned out. If there's any maintenance that needs to be done, the company that does that won't even do it until we get that part done. So we deal with a lot of things. We've been dealing since 2004, something like that. It is the MARTA pedestrian bridge, and the elevators have been dedicated solely to the city of East Point. We do all the maintenance and work over there. Our police monitor it as well. MARTA police don't monitor it, so our police department does the monitoring of the bridge as well. So, yes, ma'am. Okay. What was I here for? Oh,
Councilmember.
Hey, Mr. Reeves, how are you?
How you doing, Councilman Mitchell?
Good. So along those same lines, do you guys collaborate with the MARTA police? Don't they have them stationed over there? Is that somewhat their job?
That would be something for the police department to
I just
answer that
saw
question.
an officer walk past
Yes,
the door.
ma'am.
I'm not sure who
Okay.
that is out there. Let's see who.
Yeah, but I am familiar with the one gate. I'm not sure how much revenue we get from the MARTA station, but I know for sure one of those gates are open 24/7. So I'm not sure who you're collaborating with MARTA, or if this is even something you know you could probably help with.
Let me, hold on just a minute,
Okay.
Councilman Mitchell. Captain Robinson, do you know if we collaborate with MARTA Police or the MARTA station?
More than likely, it'd be the precinct commander.
Oh, and then we got Copeland.
Yes, ma'am. Madam
Good
Mayor.
evening, Captain Copeland.
Major.
Huh. Still haven't learned the symbols yet. I'm getting there. Major Copeland, Councilmember Mitchell asked that we collaborate with the MARTA Police for safety at East Point MARTA Station.
Okay, what was the question, Councilman?
Basically, I know we were talking about certain activities going on at the MARTA station, and I note they do have MARTA police specifically there for that. I know we can't put everything on you guys, but I'm asking, do you collaborate with them to clean up, keep an eye on some of this stuff?
Yes, once they contact us, we do assist them, only when they ask us.
Okay, are they over there 24/7, or are they permanently there, or they just air certain hours out the day? Because
Okay, who are we talking about?
the MARTA police.
Okay, the MARTA police, but I thought you were asking about the bridge or something, pedestrian bridge or something, is that what you said?
Yeah, pedestrian bridges, I mean.
I mean, I don't know how that works. I know sometimes I see them, and then you see kids in front of the MARTA station, or, smoking and doing all other kind of stuff, and it's like, what are they here for?
Okay, but yeah, when we see that, we contact MARTA because it's on their property.
Okay, gotcha. So I
If
was
they
wondering how
are
that
in front of
works.
the MARTA station, yes, we just contact them to handle anything on their property. But if they ask us for our assistance, we don't hesitate.
Yeah, okay. I mean, because I know, because it's like as soon as you leave, then I'm not sure what is considered MARTA property and then East Point property, but I know definitely for some of the stuff that goes on, at the MARTA, they're just sitting there. And I'm just like, like, what are we doing here? And I guess, who supervises them? Is there like, I know that's probably like
Who supervises the MARTA officers?
Hierarchy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
How does that work?
they're commanders, but we do have a MOU with them. Matter of fact, they house their inmates in our jail, so we definitely work with them.
Okay. Okay, sir, thank you.
Okay.
I'm done, thanks.
All right, staff is asking that we approve the intergovernmental agreement for MARTA Safe Routes to Transit Bus Stop and Pedestrian Improvements.
Madam, second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I have a question. I know I like to walk away, but you did have a question about the Stanton Road last week? Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to inform you, I don't know if staff, I don't think they informed you last week that we're working on that part of the crosswalk with a beacon system going onto the MARTA. So when MARTA didn't have that added in, when I talked to staff about it, MARTA said they wouldn't be able to get it in on this year, but they were looking into the budget, so our staff, we got together and we did a design, so we'll be putting out for construction of that process coming up in the next month or so.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Next up is, can we get a motion to open the floor for discussion and possible action on the facade grant awards and contracts?
So move.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. I placed this on the agenda because prior to me signing all of these contracts, I think it's over 30 contracts, council needs to approve these awards. Although the item indicates that the grants have been awarded, council has not approved the awards. And unlike the small business loan program, where when council approved the program, it was $10,000 per person, and so those amounts had already been approved. These have not, and so the agenda item has the list of the proposed grantees, and it's also my understanding that there is a contract template that is being used for these awards that includes place for them to include the scope of work. I'm told that one is about 80 pages, so it didn't make sense to try to put all of the contracts on here, but council approval of the grant awards in the contract form will be needed for me to be able to sign it. What does ARPA FC stand for? I know what ARPA stands for. What's the FC on the end?
Sorry, Mayor. That's just finance office or department way of identifying it. So facade.
Oh,
is what it
facade.
is. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. And the list does not include the potential grantee that it was indicated general funds would have to be used for?
That's correct. It's not included.
So that's not included on the list that's attached to the agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
But the other awards are with the specific amounts. And so as I review these and I can be able to compare them with the amounts that council approved as well as the contract template that's being used. The ask is for council needs to approve the facade grant awards that are reflected in the packet as well as the contract template that's being used for each of these. Councilmember Martin Rogers.
All right, I would like to make a motion at this time that council approve the facade grant awards contracts reflected in the packet and the template not to exceed $600,000.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up is motion for discussion and possible action on authorizing the execution of the legal services agreement related to AFFF/PFAS litigation services. Is there a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open. I'll turn it over to Attorney Wiggins.
For that last item that just got approved?
Team, for your item.
Oh, the motion was to open the floor for discussion. I thought it
Yes.
was to approve it. Thank
Sorry.
you. That's
Yes.
okay. I was like, great, it got approved without discussion. So as you know, we discussed this at the last meeting about our PFAS litigation. As you know, we are a part of a larger group of cities, counties that have joined to seek retribution, if you will, from 3M and DuPont. This agreement would allow for us to continue with the yes that the city gave, I guess that would have been last year sometime. And so you guys are aware of this action. As we discussed it at the last meeting, this is the document that I believe is going to be necessary to ensure that we are rightfully associated with the firm who is going to assist with the subsequent steps, which include the testing and also the securing of the funds.
Any questions for a discussion for the city attorney? If not, Councilman Martin Rogers.
I'd like to make a motion
Go ahead.
that we approve
A resolution authorizing the execution of the legal services agreement related to AFFF/PFAS litigation services.
Properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is council discussion and possible action on vendor Southern Computer Warehouse from Georgia State contract for the purchase and installation of police department building access systems not to exceed $283,814.27. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make the motion to approve.
So moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any executive session items from legal?
One personnel, one legal.
City manager?
I don't have any.
Council?
Yes, personnel.
I have two personnel, one legal. Let me check my phone. All right, can I get a motion to recess into executive session for one legal and two personnel?
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. We're in recess.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. In the matter of City of East Point versus Kinsale, we need a motion to approve the settlement agreement.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Good night, East Pointers.